What is positive masculinity? I think we have a sense of what toxic masculinity is, but it's not obvious what its opposite is, what positive masculinity is and what it looks like. Recently, the Netflix TV show Adolescence has created a massive storm both in the US and in the UK. I was recently back in the UK. Everyone is talking about this show. Everyone's talking about the show here now as well. Of course, it focuses on a young boy, a 13-year-old boy who commits a murder. Murders a girl his own age, and it deals with issues around online kind of grooming, the sort of red pill movement, the fact that he's been sort of indoctrinated into this kind of incel community, etc. Of course, it's dealing with the notions of toxic masculinity, and toxic masculinity certainly exists. But we don't know what its opposite is. What is positive masculinity? When we think of toxic masculinity, we can name the attributes and the characteristics. It's misogyny, violence, aggressive behavior, controlling behavior, manipulative behavior, a callousness. There are certain qualities that you can say and are associated with toxic masculinity. But what are the characteristics and what are the values associated with positive masculinity? For us to get past this moment, we absolutely have to understand what the attributes of positive masculinity are. And I put forward 5 values that I think are attributes of positive masculinity. That's resilience, responsibility, sacrifice, ambition, and humor. Now, this might not be the best list at all, but it is important that we come up with some kind of list. We have to have some kind of sense of what positive masculinity is. So first of all, responsibility. I think it's really important for young men to be taught a sense of responsibility. And responsibility is kind of a type of empathy. It's showing that you care for other people around you. It's not controlling. It's not, taking control of the people around you. But it's saying that your immediate family, as you get older, your children, your partner, the people you work with, your staff, you're going to have a responsibility. And responsibility is not just about yourself, but the people around you. And yes, you have to take responsibility for yourself, for your health, for your well-being, for your mental health, for your own life. But responsibility is a really important virtue, which sounds stuffy, sounds old-fashioned, but it's important that that's encouraged in young men, that responsibility is a good thing. The second attribute is resilience. Life is unfair, life is tough. We're not always going to get what we want, and tragedy and difficulty is definitely going to happen to us. So we have to have a sense of resilience. Resilience can be developed in a lot of ways. It's partly just through getting up when times are difficult, when times are tough. I lost my mother 10 years ago. That was the most difficult time I've been through in my life. As the years have gone on and as time has gone by, you learn to, as they all say, sort of live with the pain. You never get over it, but you get a new normal. But that taught me a certain amount of resilience. Resilience can also come through having gratitude when times are difficult. But if you don't have resilience, life can knock you down. You can become dejected. You can become disinterested in life. You can end up becoming bitter and angry. That is not good. So we also need to have a sense that resilience is important. It's not a maybe quality. It is a definite quality that you have to have in life. Another virtue is sacrifice. This again is a certain type of empathy. You're sacrificing aspects of yourself for the well-being around you, particularly when you have a family. Now, you can sacrifice time, it can be energy, it might be sacrificing a goal or a dream that you once had, but to pursue something else. Now, you don't want to sacrifice too much. You don't want to sacrifice too much so there's nothing left of you. But sacrifice is a good thing. And again, thinking and framing it as a type of empathy for people around you, that you will sacrifice certain amount of your wishes, your well-being for the well-being of others is a noble and good thing. Now, you don't want to be too self-sacrificing, but sacrifice is an important part of maturity. Another key attribute, of course, is ambition. When I was growing up in North Wales, ambition was seen almost as a dirty word. You would say, oh, he's very ambitious, as if that meant the person was untrustworthy. No, ambition is a good thing. And it's important to realize that ambition is not zero sum. Ambition doesn't mean it's just the will to power or the pursuit of your own goals in a selfish way. Ambition is not just good for yourself, but good for other people around you. If your ambition, for example, is to become a fantastic surgeon or a great doctor, yes, you win in your own life, but so do the other people around you who get the benefits of those skills. Not just your family and your immediate loved ones, but the wider community. And a good ambition isn't just good for yourself, but is good for others. The other aspect about ambition, of course, is that's how our brain floods us with dopamine as we take action on our goals. It's also how we become more congruent, as we have a vision of who we want to be and we take action in those steps. We align ourselves, we become more congruent, we become the version of ourselves that we want to become. And that is good for us. So ambition is a really important thing. It's better to have ambition and get out there in the world than to be demoralized and sit around just playing video games and not realizing that goals and aspiration and taking action is actually going to be something that's going to give you an incredible amount of meaning and joy and importance in life. It's important for boys to know ambition is a good thing. And also humor. I think humor is often overlooked. Now, humor doesn't mean dampening down our emotions or shrugging away or trying to bury things with jokes. Humor isn't just callousness or making fun of other people. Yes, humor can get us through tough times, a certain amount of levity, a certain amount of wit. But interestingly, fathers actually bond primarily with their children through play, as opposed to more nurturing behaviors that mothers tend to bond with their children through. Many studies have shown this. It's also widely recognized that women tend to find men with a sense of humor attractive. Now, it's not just about being attractive to other people, but having a sense of humor can get us through the more difficult times in life, can add a certain amount of levity, and is a quality that I think is maybe often overlooked. We need to have a sense of humor. So here are some suggestions. Responsibility, resilience, sacrifice, ambition, humor. Now, this might be a very bad list. Maybe these aren't the answers. But we do need to come up with some kind of list. We do have to have some kind of sense of what the attributes, what the virtues of positive masculinity are. It's very interesting. I've heard a lot recently people say that there aren't any strong male role models for men. I find this very interesting because there is a litany of very successful, very talented men in every field, from entertainment to sports, politics. Of course, role models don't just have to be famous people. They can be people they can be people in your community, family members, etc. But I think the reason why people have a sense that there aren't strong male role models is because we don't know what the attributes and the qualities of positive masculinity are. So it's hard to turn around and say this one person fits the bill, this one person has all those attributes. I think if we have a clear sense of what the attributes of positive masculinity are, it'll be better to say these are the people who have those kind of qualities. A couple of key points. These are aspirational values. It doesn't mean you ever truly achieve them, but they're things you can work towards and move towards every single day. Also, of course, it's very important to say that women, of course, can and should develop these qualities as well. I'm not saying this is just simply the domain of men. However, for us to counter toxic masculinity and to help young men and old men and middle-aged men and all men in general, we have to understand what are the attributes, what are the qualities of a good man of positive masculinity. So we have to start somewhere. Women can absolutely and should develop these qualities too, but I think these are very important to have a sense of positive masculinity. This is not zero sum. For men to succeed, it doesn't mean women fail, and for women to succeed, it doesn't mean men fail. Any ethical society should want both sexes to flourish, to thrive, to do well. So here are some suggestions of what positive masculinity might look like. Here are some of the attributes of positive masculinity. If we are to counter toxic masculinity, we're to get past this moment, it's really important that we know what are the qualities of positive masculinity and we have the courage to encourage them. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Also, I'd love to hear from you. What are the attributes, what are the qualities of positive masculinity? See you next time.